Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Tuesday, April 18th, 2023. It's going to be a beautiful day. You know why? Because we're together. All right, people, look, I did screw up yesterday. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? Screw? Probably. It's a general word, screw, right? Screwing. Anyway, so with that said, I did mess up yesterday. I did say that the S&P 500 was near a new record high. That's obviously not true. We are near a new yearly high, and it does look like the market's going to get there. It's an incredible situation here. The stock market, no matter what happens as of late, it's defying gravity, and we know why. This is the central banks. They're continuing to suppress rates, although this phenomenon of global bond yields rising is continuing yet again. This is clearly a sign that something is wrong. Obviously, we know what's going on here. And central banks are going to have to do more to keep rates suppressed, or this whole thing is going to blow up. Period. The end. It is eventually going to blow up, and I mean blow up. I talked about this yesterday when we covered, is this market about to take a great fall? The market is going to take a great fall, and I think it's going to be beyond anyone's wildest dreams. But until central banks are ready to allow this thing to completely melt down, and I don't think they're ready yet. We discussed this at the end of last year. What are we going to do? We're going to watch the global bond market, more specifically the 10-year yield here in the United States, That's where we're at, okay? So eventually, believe me, all of these crash callers, and there's a lot of them, are going to be right. There's just no doubt about it. But you got, again, these mega institutions calling for at least a significant drop in the market. Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, all saying the same kind of thing. And it's been going on for a while. Look, it doesn't make sense, the market. You all know this. Nothing matters when you have easy money pouring into the market. And that's exactly what's going on. It just doesn't stop. And that's the nature of the beast, because it has to continue and continue and continue. Henceforth, why we're seeing inflation get completely out of control. And that's by design too, people. You all know that. Anyway, I do want to apologize for my mess up yesterday. I didn't even realize it until one of you pointed it out. I generally don't watch these videos, believe it or not, after I do them, like now. So, and then someone wrote, "Hey, Greg, did you know that you messed up a little bit?" I'm like, no, what did I do? Like, well, you said this. I'm like, ooh, no good. My bad. All right, let's look over at this market real quick. So stock futures right now are flat to slightly higher. Trading doesn't start for about 39 minutes from the time I am doing this video blog. Lovely. This can change, but that's where we stand right now. Gold and silver are catching a bid, nothing major, higher nonetheless. The dollar is markedly lower this morning, pre-market. The relative strength of the dollar, obviously this has something to do with it. Crude oil still hovering about $80 a barrel. Bitcoin back over 30,000. Cryptocurrencies in aggregate are catching a bid today. On the lovely economic front, people, let's talk about that. Housing starts and housing permits basically fell off of a cliff here. Imagine my shock. Imagine your shock here. Look, they can try to sell us, and they're trying desperately, especially with the Joe Biden re-election campaign in full swing here. We're going to hear propaganda that you can't possibly even imagine here, how great things are, how rich everybody is, inflation is rising, but no, it isn't. What you're seeing isn't real. Food inflation out of control. Energy prices, people, you know this already. We're in the very early stages of what I believe is going to be an energy bull market unlike anything we've ever seen before. In the history of the world, despite the fact that demand is obviously disappearing. Does it seem odd to you? Let's talk about that real quick. Does it seem odd to you that we had crude oil down below $70 a barrel recently, and now all of a sudden it's over 80? in a global economy that is literally grinding to a halt here, and demand is pretty much non-existent. No, it really shouldn't surprise you in this environment. We know the game. What do OPEC? OPEC wants crude oil at least $100 a barrel, and at least, and I'm sure they would be a lot happier with crude oil being much higher than that. And besides that, there's a lot of other factors in here. You have the dollar on a relative basis here that is it's showing signs of stress here, and not just that. You got the dollar right now being threatened. There is no doubt about it. BRIC nations here, a lot of other factors in here. People looking to circumvent the dollar. That's a problem for crude and a whole bunch of other things. It's a problem for the United States of America. But what would you expect when you have the Federal Reserve is the most irresponsible? If you want to look at, you can look at this from a lot of different perspectives. But the Federal Reserve has been so irresponsible with their management of the dollar, being that we have the world's reserve currency, printing cash out of thin air, adding digits to a screen, buying it all here. It's just a matter of time before the dollar takes a great fall along with everything else. And that's going to change the lifestyle for people that live in America like you have no idea. I think it's inevitable, honestly, that the U.S. dollar is going to lose its reserve status, but it's not just going to take nations sidestepping the dollar here. It's going to take a war. It's going to take a world war. Again, the entire Vietnam War was fought to establish the fiat monetary system and the petrodollar. Untold amounts of people were slaughtered just to establish this, and untold amounts of people will be slaughtered again to at least attempt to keep the dollar as the world reserve currency. So you need to keep this in mind here. Other nations around the world, China, Russia, believe me, they would love to have the world reserve or a basket of currencies, let's say like the BRIC nations are doing right now, to try to establish that system, the BRIC system, as the world reserve. We'll see how this plays out moving forward, people. Be careful what you wish for here. What we really need is to rein in central banks altogether. We need to get rid of these organizations, okay? We don't need... Where is it written that we need central banks? Our forefathers didn't want a central bank. They thought that people could govern themselves, but we've allowed this to go crazy too, It's not like our hands are all clean, people. We've allowed this twisted, disgusting, hideous, vomitous system to manifest itself. And I don't see anybody in the street protesting. I don't see a revolt. I don't see a revolution. Do you? No. So what would you expect to happen? Well, exactly what we have now. Central banks that have taken over the entire world. They've become the government. They have a stranglehold on the people of this planet Earth. They are forcing inflation down our throats here and in every single one of our orifices. In their mission here to become the lenders and buyers of last resort. They're going to continue to inflate. They're going to inflate way more than we're seeing right now. You all know this already. So again, when you're looking at this whole thing, you should be saying, okay, this is what we should have expected from a long time ago. People are out there partying like it's 1999, although we passed 1999. And anyway, this thing is obviously on a pathway to unfold in a way that I think most people have no idea. You do, of course, here. We are going to get this whole thing to become very real. The debt market is going to melt down. The stock markets of the world are going to crater beyond anyone's wildest dreams. The U.S. dollar is going to suffer one way or the other, in a humongous way. Commodities, you know my take on this, are the place to be. Why? Because they're real things here. I also believe cryptocurrencies is where you need to be. I'm not telling anyone to be all in on anything, commodities and or cryptos. I think you need some cryptocurrency in your portfolio here. You got to be diversified. You all know that. Greg Mannarino is very diversified. I'm kind of all over the place in a lot of different things here. Generally, when you're diversified, you're kind of insulated against shocks to the system. And I suggest people insulate themselves. If you want to get into, let's say, an exchange traded fund for which I put up list after list after list in my free newsletter, link in the description of this video, to get exposure to commodities. You should look for an ETF that will give you exposure to a broad basket of commodities, for example, here. With regard to cryptocurrencies, I think you need to own several of them. If you want to be in this market, you can do that too. Look at it. It just seems unstoppable. I put out two, not one, but two absolutely free trading systems for my lions out here. And believe it or not, I'm working on a third right now, which is more of a swing trading system, which is what I really used to. I did everything. I've done it all. You name a thing in this market, I've done it all. I've learned the good, the bad, and the ugly from it, and I try to share all that with all of you. All right, people, so that's where we stand right now. We have a market relatively flat, as I said earlier. Global debt market still showing signs of instability here. Dollar on relative strength basis, that's weaker. Gold and silver catching a bid. Crypto's catching a bid here. I outline every day for you what I believe you need to focus on. And sometimes I do screw up, as I did yesterday. I meant to say year high. I said record high. Duh. People, this guy loves you a lot. Please comment. Please share the video. Thumbs up is very valuable. Okay, you give these videos a thumbs up, it moves higher in ranking, and YouTube gets this stuff out there. So I'm counting on your thumbs up. All right, I'll see all of you for my live stream, 1:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's all.